The European Union announced its plan to introduce a carbon border tax to solve the climate problems coming from global warming. In the USA, there are fierce discussions to decide whether to introduce a carbon border tax. How will it affect us? What is the carbon border tax? The carbon border tax is a compound word of carbon and border tax. Border tax means the tax to be paid when you cross a border from a country to another, tax you pay when crossing a border. Carbon border tax means the international tax imposed on the products of a country that emits a lot of carbon. The most active one to introduce a carbon border tax is the EU. An EU company shall purchase a certificate, which is as much as carbon emitted. One certificate equals 1 ton of carbon, and the amount of carbon per item is calculated based on the direct emission made in the production process. For example, let's imagine that an EU company imports 3 tons of steel from a Korean company that emits 2 tons of carbon to produce 1 ton of steel. This EU company would need 6 certificates to purchase 3 tons of steel. The impacts of a carbon border tax on Korea. Can we say that the impact on Korea will be insignificant as taxes are imposed on the importing companies instead of carbon-emitting companies? No. If an exporting company has the right to emit carbon emission allowances, in other words, the importing company does not need to purchase a certificate. Importing companies will prefer exporters with carbon emission allowances to reduce the price to purchase a certificate. This means that an importer can shift its burden in the form of certificates to its exporter. The EU's introduction of a carbon border tax will change the world's trade order. First of all, due to the burden of the price of a certificate, trade between the EU members will increase, decreasing Korean exports. The market share by country will change in the world's import market. If a product of a country whose carbon emission is large in amount, but the price is low has been preferred so far, now a product of a country that has emitted the lowest amount of carbon is likely to lead the market. Korea depends a lot on trade, and this is both a crisis and an opportunity. Let's think about ways to make the introduction of a carbon border tax an opportunity.